Welcome to another exciting episode of That's Wild. Hello and welcome to your weekly dose of wild wonder with Painted Dog TV and That's Wild. Of course, my name is Brent Smith. I am one of our private guides, hosts, and general all-round bush boy who likes a bright coloured shirt. It is very, very exciting to be here again for our second episode. And of course, yesterday was World Elephant Day, one of my favorite animals, and I'm sure a lot of yours favorite animals. And we are very fortunate to work with some incredible partners and NGOs when it comes to helping to save and rescue species, and none so much as the Remembering series. Now, if you want to help elephants, do yourself a favor, go out and grab yourself a copy of Remembering Elephants. Now, of course, there's so many incredible Remembering Wildlife books, and we will be featuring them as we go through the series. And we are very, very privileged to be able to work and partner with Margot and her team. I mean, these books are absolutely spectacular, and the money goes straight back into conservation. And, Okavango, one of my favorite spots. My favorite spots. And also, just remember that over the course of the Remembering series, they have managed to donate over £1 million. And that is not Central African pounds or Egyptian pounds. That is the Great British Pound. So very, very, very amazing series of books. So if you want to help some elephants, go out and get yourself a copy of Remembering Elephants. Now, let me see if I can place it correctly. See if the skull goes back in the right spot. Now, it has been an absolutely crazy week, second crazy week for us here on Painted Dog. If you haven't been joining us for our 3 free live drives a week, tisk, I am very disappointed because you've been missing out on some incredible wildlife sightings. We're going to show you just a few of the incredible sightings we've had this week. And this is actually from last Sunday. And it was an absolutely amazing sighting. I was there. Now, I'm actually sitting just behind where this happened. The cheetah jumped up onto our water reservoir, and that's where the water for camp comes from, to have a drink. Now, having a drink with a view, and of course, cheetah are not the best climbers of the cats, and this male nearly took an unintended swim at one point. But yes, this is about 50 meters from where we're sitting now. We're very lucky that these male cheetah come through camp. Gareth had them on drive this afternoon. They started drive less than 100 meters from camp. So we're very, very blessed to see these boys regularly. Oh, we're going to have to come up with some names for them. Fortunately, we are seeing Vincent van der Merwe from the Metapopulation Initiative, who's been instrumental in getting cheetahs to the Rietspruit and to other parts of Africa and the world. And he will also be a guest on the show at some point. So very, very exciting that these cheetahs are part of the Metapopulation Initiative. And who knows, their genetics might help repopulate other parts of Africa where cheetah have become locally extinct. Okay, what do we got next? I think it's been a very cheetah-filled week, but we've also had some lions, if I remember correctly. And I was a little bit jealous about the lion sighting. And it was with Gareth. And I mean, isn't that absolutely stunning? Spending time with the Rietspruit girls, and then you get an unexpected other predator just bombing through. Whoop! Look at that. And all the lions watch. There was a spotted eagle owl who just flew straight through Gareth's lion sighting. And the spotted eagle owl seemed to sort of get the girls going a little bit because, as we know, a precursor to big cats moving is, of course, the yawn. A very important part of big cat behavior as they start to try suck in more oxygen as they're getting ready to head out on their nightly activities. But an absolutely wonderful time and quite a special moment to see the, I suppose if you talk about it, the apex mammalian predator and the apex avian predator of the night. Now, as I said, it's just been one of those weeks, and we had a very, very special sighting, and especially since it was World Elephant Day yesterday, this was a bit earlier in the week. We got to spend some time with the Rietspruit herd as they came to drink at the six-sided waterhole, and there we go. It was really, really special. Now, the whole herd was there, as well as the young bull. So the 20-year-old bull who's just moved from the very cold Midlands of KwaZulu-Natal to this lovely, lush, warm Lowveld. Well, it's been a bit cold for us, but you'll see shortly that the big bull who's in full must arrived and sent the young 20-year-old scampering within, must have been about 1.5 meters, 2 meters of us. Now, and you can see Andrew zooms out. You can see there's reaction. Something's coming. The elephant's heads are up. Here comes the big musk bull. And there runs the little boy. Oh no, I'm going to get beaten up. Off he goes. And you can see there's a bit of pandemonium as a big musk bull arrives, but it all settled down quite quickly. And we got some unbelievable, it's always unbelievable to be close to these giants, and they truly are gentle giants if you respect them and know what you're doing when you're this close to them. It was a very, very special afternoon to spend with the elephants. And again, I think we have more elephant excitement for this week. We had a very exciting drive on Saturday, but you're going to have to wait till next week to see what happened then. So you have to join us for the next episode of That's Wild, because otherwise you'll be in trouble. But in between all our our amazing elephant encounters, we got to see some of the newest members of the Rietspruit Reserve, and again, part of the Meta Population Initiative. So there we go. Andrew and Ashley had a very special sighting of the 3 little cheetah cubs, and they actually decided to completely ignore our safari vehicle and have game time around the vehicle. They actually scampered and ran around. I'm a little bit jealous that I wasn't on drive that morning. We had a sighting of them the afternoon before, but it wasn't nearly as wonderful as this. And look how happy and fat they are. So Mom had killed a impala the night before, and everyone had got to eat a lot of meat. And so they are in fine fettle. And there we go. You can see off we decide to go. And of course, it looks like they're running away from us, but they're not. They actually were having a game of catch the sibling. So then the next 2 came through, and whoop, off they went after their sibling. And they actually still continued to run around the car for quite a while. As I said, I was a little bit jealous that morning. I had to sit and do emails while Ashley and Andrew got to play with cheetah cubs. Ashley is sitting on camera and smiling at the memory of the cheetah cubs, and I'm sure Andrew is doing the same. Now, as I said, we did have some amazing elephant encounters, but just before the first ever episode of That's Wild, we had a first, as far as I'm aware, on camera. Well, definitely on camera for me in my over 10 years of being on camera, and definitely my first live. And this, I was too excited at the time, so I'm not going to try and walk you through it. You're going to have to listen to my incoherent bubbling while it happened live a week ago. Well, it has been an absolutely spectacular first free-to-air drive here on the magnificent Rietspruit Game Reserve. And remember, there will be 3 of these every week, plus That's Wild, which is starting in an hour. So if you want to join Gareth and I to find out the latest on what's happening in the African bush, join us on That's Wild. And again, if you want to be able to interact, ask Gareth or myself or our conservation heroes, vets, or whoever we might be working with questions, become a Painted Dog TV pack member. Oh, he's stalking again. We're extending. I'm sorry, everyone. I know there's going to be massive panic. since we have got an hour till the show and there's lots to do, but we have a live cheetah stalk, and as you know at Painted Dog, the animals always win out over admin, especially if I can avoid all admin at all costs. I'm smiling, I'm scared when I get home because I might be beaten, but I'll take the risk.
I think they'll pop out.
Oh, it's a leopard. It's a leopard chasing them. It's a leopard chasing them. Look, there's a leopard, there's a leopard, there's a leopard chasing the cheetah. Now the cheetah are chasing the leopard. Move, cheetah. That leopard ran off that way. It was a young leopard as well. Didn't look particularly big. Let's see if we can get a view of the leopard. My goodness, guys, how's that for a first drive? So we're extending. Everyone in the office can panic. I want to see if I can find the leopard. There's the leopard. Oh no, run cheetah. Oh jeez, is that leopard right next to the cheetah there? Was that in a nightjar? Aye. No, it's a leopard. Leopard's chasing the cheetah. Hold on. Hold on, jeez, leopard's right on those cheetah. The leopard was right on them. Just ducked off now. It's definitely a female. Let's try see if we can hopefully get a spot pattern on it. Yeah, she comes right in front of us. Yeah, got her, thanks. Yeah, definitely female. I'm just trying to figure out which one. But guys, it's been great, it's been grand. I better get home because we got to go to That's Wild. Join us in how long?
45.
In 45 minutes. Okay, it's not too bad. I thought it was about like 15 minutes. I was having a mild panic. But as I say, leopard, cheetah, elephant. What else do we see? Brown hyena. Bye. See you in 45 minutes. Now, this is the type of stuff you're missing out on if you don't join us at Painted Dog TV for the free live safaris. And of course, if you want to interact with myself or Gareth or Andrew, you're going to have to become a Painted Dog TV pack member. But it has been absolutely cooking. And remember, we only put the highlights in from Sunday till Thursday. So there's a bunch of stuff you've missed out on that you're going to have to wait till next week to see. While I ponder the amazing sightings that we're getting on the Rietspruit Game Reserve, let's go to a short break.
Dear future filmmakers, Africa is calling. It's time to reawaken your wild. Painted Dog TV is offering an internship unlike any other. Join our pack and see the world through a whole new lens. Live and work in the beating heart of the South African bush and become part of our mission to share it with the world. For the love of wildlife. For the storytellers of our future. Painted Dog TV internships.
Wow. now we're getting to the meat of our show, and we've got something really, really special and spectacular for you today. You might have noticed that there's no one sitting next to me. Now, quite often with our conservation heroes that we work with, their schedules are crazy, so it's quite difficult to tie them down to sit with us by the fire and have a chat. So what we've managed to do is record an interview with Pete, but he will be joining us for a live Q&A via the interwebs a little bit later. But without any ado, let's go hear some of the incredible stories from the amazing man himself, Dr. Pete Rogers. Now we have a very exciting guest on That's Wild today. We have the one and only Dr. Pete Rogers. Hello, Pete.
Yes, how are you, Brenty?
Very good. I've been very lucky. I've known Pete for almost my whole life.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when I was in the old Natal Park Sport, many years ago, and I remember you little guys, little squacks running around when your dad and mom started Pinder.
Yeah, we were very lucky.
They talk about Dennis the Menace. It was Brent the Menace. Yeah.
I had some energy back then.
I'd say.
And talking about that, I mean, you've been working with Dad. I mean, since like 1990?
Yeah, it was probably like 92. I met your dad. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when they started Pinder, I mean, it was an amazing project. Those guys. I mean, the foresight they had was just unbelievable.
And you guys did it's sort of a norm these days, but when the elephants escaped from Pinder.
Yeah.
They were said, no, you can't move elephants on their side, they'll die, their lungs will crush everything.
Yeah, well, we had no choice, it was sink or swim really. They got out and it was like sort of late afternoon. And I can't remember whether there was about 12 of them or something. And we knew it was in a very sandy area on the Ndebele Peninsula. I mean, the sand was like about this thick. And we knew that it would take the whole night. We'd have to keep them down the whole night and get vehicles in the next morning to get them out, hopefully. So we had to keep them under the whole night, which meant that your mom, Greer, never say die, Greer, had to go all the way to my place at Monzi and actually break into my house to get all the M99, or the etorphine at that time, to keep those animals down the whole night. So yeah, we did. We kept them down the whole night. We had a lantern at each animal, individual, and your dad and various other people spent the whole night just walking around. We were just topping up these animals the whole night to keep them down, but also to keep them alive and ready for the next day to get them out, which was a hell of a thing. They brought in big heavy flatbeds from Richards Bay, but they had to be pulled in because of the sand. So it was a lengthy, and when we put them into nets, all the sort of things you shouldn't really do. And we ran out of etorphine, and then we were using fentanyl, which I also used for the rhinos at the time. And we ran out of that, so in the end we were just using a Zaparone, which is a tranquilizer. So we kept them all through. Some of the females only got up like, 3 or 4 hours or 5 hours later because they were so doped. But yeah, we didn't lose any. So
yeah, it was incredible because every elephant expert in the country said it's impossible.
Yeah, but we had to. It was do or die. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and I mean, your time at Natal Parks obviously was quite special at that time.
Yeah, I was very blessed. I worked to go back a little bit further, in about 1977, I was a young student, obviously, I shouldn't say maybe full of testosterone.
Done well. It's a scientific show.
All over the, no, I'm joking, no, but, and just jolling in the holidays, and then my dad said, hey, I'm tired of me paying for all your beer and holidays and all that sort of thing, you get a job. So I was fortunate in the sense that my stepmom, who's actually my real mom, to be honest, it was her 80th birthday on Makalali this last weekend. She used to work for the Parks Board. And I don't know whether I should admit to this, but she was married to a guy called Van Reenen Jansen van Vieren, who's notorious here in the Lowveld. And he's actually, to all intents and purposes, practically probably my stepfather. He passed away many years, but a real character. So she managed to get me a job in the park, the Kruger Park, working for the vet at the time, Valerius de Vos. So I ended up working all my varsity holidays, and I even played cricket for Skukuza. So,
well, that's something we have in common.
Did you also?
I've played for Skukuza, yeah.
You're scraping the barrel there.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Me too. So I used to get in my little foller on a Friday evening and then drive down from Honest to Poort, and then they'd meet me at the gate, Leeuwbrock. and we'd go through, and then we'd play cricket on a Saturday, big party on a Sunday at one of the guys' houses, and then 3:30 on a Monday morning back to OP. So that was my introduction, and I'd always wanted to become a vet, and particularly a large animal vet. And in those days, this area, my dad had 2 farms here, it was a cattle area, and probably my best mate Dave Cooper, who you guys will sure will interview, yeah. We grew up together from like sort of grade 2, we were at school together, right through school, right through the army, everything. And our idea was to like form a practice down here, but doing cattle. I mean, this is how it's changed over the years. And anyway, so I was actually working in small animal practice in Durban, and I got a call one night, and those days it was still those bloody phones. Yeah, those paraffin phones. And there was a guy called Jacques Flamand. I don't know, he said, he's going to Saudi Arabia for a year. Would I be interested in standing in for a year like as a locum? So I said, yeah, I'd love to, But then I said, well, where did you get my name from? So he got it from the crew, because he phoned them. So I was very lucky, because in those days, veterinary wildlife involvement was long before the game industry started. So there were basically 5 vets involved with wildlife full time. It was a state vet and the vet in Kruger, so that was 2, and then it was Natal Parksport, which was Jacques, and then it was Pretoria Zoo, which was Woody Meltzer or Jaime Ebediz at the time, and then Joburg Zoo was a guy called Lynn Colley. So there were only 5 of us. Sure. So I count myself blessed and very lucky to have got into the conservation that way. Yeah.
And I mean, Natal Parks, pretty much you were there for the saving of the rhinos almost, and the massive upflux. And
yeah, it's in a sense, but the groundwork was done by my predecessors there, guys like Tony Hartwin, which most people wouldn't have heard of, and guys like Mike Keep, who was just before Jacques. So basically, when we got there, when I started there, the protocol was pretty much standard, except for 1 or 2 things. So I can't actually claim any kudos for being involved in it. But what was nice in those days was that people still wanted rhinos. Yeah. The private sector, I mean, we at any time probably had 30, 40 rhinos in the bomas. And we spent most of our time catching rhinos for translocation. Whereas these days it's completely changed. We're doing rhinos now to try and preserve them.
I think I was 4 or 5 the first time I went to the Natal Parks translocation camp.
Okay.
And there was a black rhino there called Gundwan.
Yes, Gundwan.
Yeah. I think he went all the way to America eventually.
No, I don't know. I can't remember what happened, but he was a tough little okie.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't know whether he went to Lapaladi, but I can't remember. But I remember the name.
Yeah, I just remember, that's one of my.
He was little. Gundwan meaning rat. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I just remember meeting him as a little one. Yeah. But and obviously, after Natal Parks, during Natal Parks, I mean, you were involved in a huge amount of rhino relocations and translocations. Yes. And I think probably the largest at the time. I think there might have been a few bigger ones recently. Oh, probably not though.
We took, you can't believe it, and it's actually before my time as well, but also happened once during my time, was that we took, Natal Parksport took rhinos like to the States and to Europe and that by ship. I promise you can't believe it. I mean, so those rhinos had to be so tame, and so, because they'd be in a crate. So not many, but that's how they used to translocate. And then later we translocated them by air, but small numbers, not like what we do now.
Yeah. And I mean, recently you've been involved in quite an incredible translocation.
Yeah, very fortunate. I was involved in a translocation. 16 white rhino went to Garamba, which, as you know, is the home of the northern white rhino, which the last one went extinct in 2006. So it was basically the reversal of a local extinction, even though it was a southern white rhino. So 2 groups of 8 went up. I was very fortunate enough to accompany the second group of 8, but it was very fulfilling in a way, but sad in the sense that the northern white rhino went extinct on our watch.
It is.
It's a complete vilification.
For those of you who don't know, Garamba is in DRC.
Northern DRC, on the South Sudan border, yeah.
So obviously an area that's gone through a lot of turmoil in the last 30 or so years, and civil wars and whatnot. But I mean, and obviously your specialty is large animals.
Yeah.
Or wildlife, but...
Yes, wildlife, but probably, I think numbers-wise, the most we work with at the moment, numbers-wise, is rhinos, But sadly, not for the right reasons, in a sense. Well, you can justify it in a way that we're actually saving the rhino from ourselves, because this dehorning process, which is very traumatic, is we're actually basically defacing defacing this animal in order to preserve it from our fellow human beings, from ourselves. Yeah.
Very, very sad.
But it works.
It does.
But not on its own. It works
No.
with good security.
With good security, monitoring.
It's not a silver bullet. And passionate staff.
And a lot of people always think that there's one solution to these big conservation problems, and it's not. It's multiple solutions working together.
That's right. Always teamwork, eh?
Now, we're coming up shortly, I think in a day or two, is World Elephant Day.
Yes.
And I have a little birdie told me that I should ask you, what's your favorite animal to work with?
I tell you, there's two. But I love working with the elephants. I really do. And probably from a selfish point of view, is because with the anesthetic that we use, they're the kingpins, and the lions as well. They just listen to you while they're sleeping. They do as they're told while they're sleeping. Yeah. No, I love them. Oh, I love them.
Now, as I said, we've been lucky enough, or I've been lucky enough to be with elephants with you when I was this big.
Yes.
And now, fast forward 30 years. We've been lucky in the last couple of years to be involved in two quite exciting elephant relocations.
Yes.
The herd, and you can actually see their dung behind us there, and the two bulls, which was actually a couple of weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah, now that I don't have a lot of experience with these big mass translocations, but the one like at Pindo, they identified a certain herd because of the cow with the collar. But as soon as, and this is something I only realized later, because we tried it in other game reserves as well, and it didn't work, was the relocation of animals. Because most of these animals are contracepted, when they hear the helicopter, they just bombshell. So I think we caught every elephant there in that translocation except the ones we wanted.
Yeah, the original herd we ID'd.
We never even saw the original herd. They just disappeared into that sand forest and they were gone. But the ones that we caught were fine and brought here and have done exceptionally well.
They have, and I mean, the funny thing is that 3 days after the one elephant walked off the crate, she had a baby.
Oh, we should have charged you extra for that.
I know. You should see him now. His little tusks are coming out. And proper little boy. He comes running up to the car. And
called Brent.
Yeah. Oh no, don't give any people ideas. But yeah, so we've been very lucky. I mean, we've done rhinos, cheetahs.
Yes.
Lions. Lions was a...
Which was the lions one?
The one that we had to hold him by his tail.
Oh, you had it with your dad.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. Jeez, that was nearly a nightmare.
That was nearly a nightmare. Yeah. So he started getting a bit wobbly, and he started wandering towards a sort of 20-meter drop. Yeah. And while we were holding him by the tail, his two brothers were growling at us and whatnot. I think my mom was throwing rocks at them.
Probably. If your mom threw something at me, I'd run like hell.
But of course, I mean, actually, I forgot to ask something. How long have you been a wildlife vet now, officially, since you moved from the small practice in Durban to now?
So that was in 1987, September 1987 till now, yeah.
Wow. Lots
of scars and plates and screws to show that, yeah.
So that's leading into the next question.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're part of quite a rarefied club. I think it's the Black Rhino Club.
Yeah, and my son just joined it
I heard
4 months ago. Yeah, that was very... Well, I don't say I learned a lesson, but it just showed how unpredictable these animals. And I firmly believe after that experience that black rhinos, when they get cross, they eat meat. They become carnivorous. So anyway, I landed at Joburg, and I had about 1,000 missed calls on my phone. And it was my soulmate, mate for life, John Barretto, who's got a farm in Avoca there in the Timbavati. And he said, Peter, you've got to come quick. I said, Johnny, you don't even know where I am. I said, I hardly know. But anyway, I've just got back now from Dubai, and what's the problem? No, he said they delivered a black rhino the previous day. And they put it into a boma, and the reserve is quite small, like 1,500 hectares. So if they'd released that black rhino straight into the veld, he would have gone straight through the fences.
Gone.
So they released it into a boma, and the rhino wasn't settled. He just saw out and he wanted to get out, and he wanted to get out, and he wanted to get out. And it was December, it's hot. But the problem was that the boma itself was surrounded by two like quarantine fences. So if they'd opened the gate, he would have run,
Straight through the fences.
but then also wire all over him, and it would have been a disaster. So he said, please. So I said, John, look, I'm still in Joburg. I'll be in Rietspruit at about 1-ish or 2-ish. But I said, my friend, it's going to be 42 degrees today. Everything is wrong. If we dart this rhino, because then we'd have to wake him up partially. That's like being a little bit pregnant. Wake him up partially, and then walk him out through the boma, through the compartments, out through the first gate, out the second quarantine gate, and then you park him in a bush because you've got to get all the cloths off. Because if he can see you, hey, that's your last day on earth, eh? So nearly was mine. And fortunately, the guy said to me, John said to me, he said, listen, while it's down, please dehorn it. Young, that was a lifesaver. Otherwise, you would have been talking to your chair here today if he still had a horn. So we dehorned him, and then we just woke him up partially, made sure, all the cloths are on and the ropes and that. Got him out, but he was sweating profusely. Even when I got here, I thought I was going to die. But he was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
And we obviously doused him with water and that. Anyway, so we got him out, and we parked him in a bush, and I took all the cloths and everything out, because you've got to walk him, eh? And then give him the full antidote. And then I'd worked with him before, and a lot of us had before, so we knew distance was important. Eh? Distance away.
Well, last rhino dehorning we did here, everyone go away!
No,
away from the black rhino.
I told you, those things eat meat when they cross. So then we were probably, I reckon, about 70, 80, maybe 100 meters away. But we were standing in the road so that we could get a good eye on him next to the road, and that was my mistake. Then the next thing, I just saw him hyperventilating, and he went down flat on his side. And I thought, this rhino's dead. Eh? And I walked about 30 meters closer, and I clapped my hands. Man, it was like waking up a bomb. And what they do is they just spin around in circles, and they just kill everything that's around them. Every bush, every tree that they can find, they donor. And he just came straight in my direction. He didn't know I was there.
Yeah.
And he just got closer and closer, and I thought, well, what do I do now? There's only going to be one winner here. And so then I had to get out of the way, because he was running down the road. As I say, they don't pick any direction, they just go. Yeah. And I ducked behind a tree. I've forgotten what it was. But anyway, he just ran straight through that tree, and he threw me through the tree like this. And then Janelle, remember Janelle used to work with me? Young, she screamed at him. And I'll tell you, if Janelle screams at me, I also run. Anyway.
I think the whole of Rietspruit runs when Janelle screams at you.
And this rhino just carried on going. And then so I landed, and I didn't know where I was, obviously, and my face was bleeding from the thorns. I don't know what trees they were. And everybody ran up to me and they said, guys, I'm fine, mate. Fine. There was a big water tank. They put me under this big water tank, opened the tap, and they doused me and cleaned my face. And I said, guys, my face is one thing, but my back, my back's sore. My back's sore. Then I still had to go and treat a lion after that. And I went to the doc the next day. At the time, there was only one doc in town. And Dr. Mark Blair, who's a fantastic doctor. And he said, do this, do that, do that. And I did all this. He said, no, it's fine, Myprodols. And then he went on leave. I mean, it was so bad-mannered. But anyway, he went on leave. And I had injured rhinos to treat, and then yalas to bleed. And the back of mine just wasn't getting better. So then I went to Zanin, and I had an x-ray done, and I had a 40% compression fracture of L1, yeah.
Ow.
So, yeah.
How are you still walking?
Hey, with a cane. No, I tell you, it was just, I think, the rehab, and I've been very blessed, and I'm very active. Eh? I mean, you'd never say I was 45. Eh?
Isn't that what I am? Almost. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, the legacy that you've created and your family's going to leave. I mean, it's had a massive impact on my life and in the wildlife. So we're just very, very, very special to be able to call you a friend. And and again, thank you very much for coming to talk to us. We've got one last question. I think we'll end off on a bit of a funny note. What is the strangest call out or experience you've had as a wildlife vet?
I've got to tell you one story.
Okay, I'm excited now.
I've got to tell you the one that you don't know. One day, I hadn't been in the parks board long. It was about 1990. They phoned me and they said, so in the old days, Itala, they used to prospect on Itala for whatever minerals there were. And when the guys left, when the road was proclaimed, there were a lot of like these little mine shafts that were open. And a game guard was doing a patrol, and he noticed like some broken bush and some sort of skid marks, and he looked down into the hole, and there was a rhino there.
It's fallen down an old mine shaft.
Fallen down the mine shaft.
Jeez.
I promise you, Brent, I promise you. After whiskies, I might, embellish, but this is dead sober. She fell down a mine shaft. And now what do we do? So they called me out and I went there. All of a sudden, all the game capture experts from there were not available, and Kippy, I had to go out there. And I remember Keith Micklejohn, the head of game capture at the time, wanted to organise a super freelon and all this to lift it out of this hole there. Yes, we get there, to knock its front horn off. And the hole was just wide enough for this rhino.
It's just jammed in there.
Yeah, so it was in the days when in Chondwe camp, the main camp in Italo, was still being built. And the roads as well. And we just noticed a big pile of like shale, but wet shale, luckily wet shale, that they were using to do the roads. So I darted it with a little bit of M99 just to take it off in, just to take the edge off it. And then we had some guys come in and we got shovel loads of the stuff, bucky loads full. And we throw it into the hole and then with long poles, thrown it down. Anyway, 15 minutes that rhino was out.
Oh.
Had 2 darts in his backside, but I mean, who cares? It was,
It would have fallen out eventually.
yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
Well, Pete, I cannot express enough gratitude for coming to chat to us. And we're very excited that you are the first of our conservation heroes we're going to be featuring on That's Wild.
And the one who talks the most.
And I'll make sure we've got a bottle of whiskey for you afterwards.
No, that's good. Yeah, I just want to say quickly at the end, I was very blessed to be involved in this field. It's a highly sought after job, and it's, I think that most people, like for an accountant or whoever, they work 60 years or 40 years to be able to enjoy the last 10 years. But I've lived my whole life like that. So my whole life has been on holiday. I've had a couple of scratches along the way, but I mean, I've still got 5 or 6 years to go. And also I'd like to say that and why I really made a special effort to be here with you guys today is because of the work that you guys are doing. And I've seen you growing from nothing really, and I say with all due respect, to where you guys are now, So I just think that you guys are doing fantastic work, and it's more about the awareness that you guys, because I mean, the world is in a shocking place, and we can't do it ourselves, but each can do our own little bit to try and help it. And I want to thank you guys.
Thanks very much
for your contribution, and long may it live.
And long may you live. No more black rhinos.
Yeah, I'm running out of runway.
Thanks very much, Pete.
Okay, my boy. Pleasure. Pleasure.
So we are struggling to get Pete on via the interwebs. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. He's quite far away from us. So we're going to... Oh, wait, we might have him back. So while we are waiting for Vim and the guys at the back to get the tech sorted out, there's been lots of interesting things. And, of course, this is the moment. And... Right, we're just waiting for Pete, sorry. But yeah, so there's been lots of interesting stuff happening out there. And I came across a little bit of news recently that blew my mind. And of course, that everyone has always assumed that the blue whale, the heaviest animal ever, mammal ever. But a new species of whale, an extinct species of whale, was discovered recently that lived 40 million years ago. And guess where it was found? I mean, there's a blue whale above in the image. It was found in a desert. The Perusutus, I think I'm getting my pronunciation right. Perusutus, Perusutus, meaning colossal whale of Peru, was one of the more interesting sort of scientific discoveries in the last little while. They were found, the fossils were actually found over 10 years ago, but it's just taken the guys a lot of time to sort of figure it out. But do yourself a favor, go have a look up for giant whale if you want to learn a little bit more about fossils. I love fossils, of course, so that was always exciting. Now, we are still trying to get Pete back, so we're going to be waiting to hear on that. But in the meantime, I'm waiting for VM to tell me what we're going to get up to next. I think I'm going to tell you a story about Dr. Rogers. That is not from Dr. Rogers. So, as I said, I've been very, very fortunate to know Dr. Rogers, or Uncle Pete, for many years. And, since I'm trying to work out how old I was, probably about 6 or 7 years old when I first got the privilege of meeting Pete. And at the time, large movements of animals didn't happen that often, and the Pinda had just been formed, but they were lacking rhinos and other animals. And there was a property not far from Pinda called Malachite that was actually owned by Old Man Rattray, who was the owner and founder of Mala Game Reserve. And he was consolidating all his stuff up to the Lowveld. So Pinda, or Conservation Corporation, that was known at the time, bought all the animals on the farm. And Pete and I think you might have mentioned a helicopter pilot called Vera van Heerden. They were the ones who literally caught and moved with the Pinda team a huge amount of animals. And I think at the time it was the most rhinos ever moved in a single day. And it wasn't a very long move, but it was very incredible to be part of it. And I was about 6 or 7, and I got to sit on Pete's lap in the helicopter, and I got to ride in the Rhino crates. And I just remember, as you've seen, he's such an incredible man, the unbelievable kindness and patience he showed with, I think he called me Brent the Menace. It wasn't Dennis the Menace, it was Brent the Menace at that age. I was about this big, and I had more energy than I have now. I don't know if that's possible, but apparently, according to everyone who knew me as a 6 or 7 year old, I was an absolute terrorist. But the kindness and patience he showed with myself and my brother and the other kids who were around while we were darting rhinos and stuff, and letting us be part of that experience. I think there's a photograph my mom's got of all of us sitting. I think it was about 4 or 5 of us kids. I think I was probably the most precocious of them, but sitting next to this rhino while it was waiting to be loaded into a crate. How are we doing there, VM? Or should we go into next segment while we wait to get Pete? Yes, we're going into pack photos and videos. Matt's mom, Sue. Black-headed herons. Sue, are you sure those are black-headed herons? They look like black-crowned night herons to me. Sorry. Those are definitely not black-headed herons. Where was the photo taken? I think it did say, but I think waterfront. But those are not black-headed herons. They look like black-crowned night herons, if I had to give a guess. I didn't know black-crowned night herons occurred in the Cape. So I might be wrong. I'm going to double check, always make sure of your facts. But I think those are black-crowned night herons, and I'll tell you shortly if Have I lost my comms? Is FC talking to us? Oh, sorry, next one. I will double check that. Judy, Hyrax, Sani Pass. Is it Sani Pass? Sasu Pass on our recent trip to South Africa. That is a brilliant picture. I love the river in the background. It is absolutely gorgeous. So it's, and a lot of people don't know well, everyone says a hyrax and an elephant are the most closely related. But what is one of the reasons they are most closely related? Hyrax is one of the few animals, apart from elephant, rhino, that have their testicles on the inside of their body, which is a very interesting thing for thermoregulation. So that is one of the main reasons why elephants and hyrax are considered to be closely related. And if you've ever actually got a chance to see a hyrax teeth, their canines are extended. Obviously not quite like an elephant's, but they are extended as well. So that's very interesting. Okay, who's up next? Zozo from London. In the Gondwana Reserve in the Western Cape, a lovely giraffe. Definitely not a hyrax, we'll have to fix that. It is indeed a giraffe. And it's quite interesting to see giraffe in an area like Gondwana. They would have only really frequented the riverbeds where you got a specific thorn tree called the sweet thorn. Oh, Ashley's going to have to help me. Straight is a Senegalia or hooked? I can never remember. It's either a Senegalia or a Burchillia Karoo. So it is the thorn tree with the long straight thorns. And so giraffes in the Karoo and the Kalahari, the Kalahari, they would specialize around the dry riverbeds where you would find that sweet thorn, very specific tree that grows in that area. Outside of that, there's not much for them to eat, but very, very interesting. Do we have another photo for us here? Julie. Oh, excuse me. Julie, vervet monkey, and a baby. Oh, in a Timberti tree. I'm going to definitely in a Kruger. So I'm sure Julie, who's not that far from us, who's just spent 3 months in South Africa and actually came and visited us. Gareth took her on a drive, and she actually went on 2 rhino dehornings with us. Well, one with us and with Pete Rogers. So very, very beautiful. Julie, I know your time is coming to an end in South Africa. I hope you have absolutely loved your time here, and hopefully we'll see you back next year. Okay, what's we got? Here we go. Michael. This is what I'm excited. Michael Fleetwood has got us a beautiful picture of a red fox, and now I can't remember the proper name for a baby fox. So Kit. Thank you, Ashley. So yes, and again, when you send your pictures in, and you can send your pictures into the Painted Dog TV app, and there's a tab for your photos and videos. We would also love not only to see the wildlife you see while you're out on safari in Africa, but we would love to see the wildlife that you see at home. Now, sorry, I know I'm being a pain, but I need to double check something for Sue's picture. Indeed, Sue, it is a black-crowned night heron. They do occur in the Cape. I wasn't sure whether they did, but yes, a black-crowned night heron, not a black-headed heron. Black-headed herons are very tall and would probably struggle quite to sit on that boat, but those are black-crowned night herons. Absolutely amazing birds, but they do, as their name suggests, do a lot of their hunting in the nocturnal hours. So really, really fantastic to see that. And I'm impressed. I didn't even know that the black-crowned night herons were in the waterfront of Cape Town. Okay, Vimpy, what are we going to next? Cookie! This is a great video. I'm gonna actually, this was on Cookie's safari with us last year. Cookie came on an extended conservation safari, and we got to see a pack of wild dogs in the Greater Kruger with their puppies. And we had Grant Beverly from the Endangered Wildlife Trust with us to help talk us through everything wild dog. Although you get Grant and I in a car, no one else is going to be able to say anything because we both get too excited about the African wild dog, or painted dog, as it is now being commonly called. And of course, my favorite animal, and the name that our company draws its inspiration from. Okay, so while we are still really struggling to try to get Pete on the line, we're going to go to a short break. welcome back. Unfortunately, we are struggling to get Pete online for the live Q&A, so we're just going to muddle on ahead. Yesterday was World Elephant Day, and I came up with this brilliant idea. Where's the best place to photograph elephants? Where's the best place to see elephants on safari? And I actually thought, you know what, I've been one of those really privileged people to be able to go to some amazing places of Africa, and everyone's seen a lot of savanna elephants, but I've been lucky enough to spend time with forest elephants. So I decided to share some of my photographs of my time in the forests of the Congo Basin. The first set is coming from the incredible Adzala National Park in northern Republic of Congo, and this is a beautiful forest elephant bull in a bay. And a bay is a spectacular place where water comes out, and you have these massive openings in the forest, and they literally come to mine minerals. So what he's doing with his trunk there, he's blowing into the sand to get down to the mineral-rich layer, and he'll actually eat that mud. Look at that. I mean, an elephant sitting like a puppy dog, mining mineral salts in the Congo rainforest. So those mineral salts are incredibly important to them. There's actually very low nutrient values in most of the Congo Basin forests. They're on Kalahari sand. So where water and minerals come up, you have these elephants coming to mine for those minerals. And this beautiful boy was just having the best time. And I was actually on foot during this. So I was actually sitting or standing not very far from him, taking photographs while he had the absolute best time mining for minerals in a bay in Adzala National Park. Now, Adzala is a very, very special place, and it has come on leaps and bounds since African parks have taken over the management of it, and the animals are starting to come back. It was very heavily poached for a while, but it is absolutely incredible, and it is one of the destinations that you can go on safari with Painted Dog. Gareth and I could very happily take you to go see an elephant mining for minerals in the Congo Basin rainforest. Now, we are sticking in the Congo Basin rainforest. So Adzala I have visited. I have been there for a couple of weeks. However, Gabon is my true passion when it comes up to there, having been able to live there. I mean, look at that. There is a massive tusker on a beach in Gabon. Shame, he was a very old elephant. You can see the sag on him, and he was a very, very gentle old giant. And again, so almost all of the photographs you're going to see of these forest elephants are all taken on foot. That was him when he was poking his nose out of the palms to come down to the beach. Now, elephants, gorillas, chimpanzees, red-capped mangabeys, red river hogs all come down to the beach in Gabon to feed on a certain fruit, but I'm going to cancel what I was talking about there. Now, this is in an absolutely special place, one of my favorite places in the world, where you can see images like this. In this area, it's called the Akaka Swamp in Longa National Park in Gabon, and you could see 100 forest elephants coming out onto these lush open grasslands. Now, these open grasslands are only there in the dry season. Now, come rainy season, the water is about 2 elephants deep. So that elephant plus another elephant is how deep that water is. Those trees to the right are completely covered in water. And the elephants come down into the Akaka Swamp region during the dry season to take advantage of the grasses. And that is me talking to a forest elephant. Now, a lot of people have this perception that forest elephants are very, very aggressive and they always charge. However, it's because when you're walking in the thickets of the forest, you come across them quite close. However, in my experience, and I lived up there for quite some time, is if I treat these forest elephants the same as I treat a savanna elephant. Now, there we go, back to Gabon. Incredibly special. Elephants on a beach. Where else in the world? Now, as I said, Painted Dog does offer exclusive private safaris to Gabon. It is one of the most remote destinations in Africa. So unfortunately, it is not cheap to get to, but it is definitely worthwhile. And I would highly recommend trying to get there before it becomes very commercial. The safari industry is in its infancy there. So it is for your more seasoned traveler. It is not for someone who wants to see everything on their first trip. But it is definitely worth it, and with the right planning, it is an absolutely magical place. It is absolutely magical. So very, very exciting that we are able to offer safaris to places that most guides in Africa have never even set foot in. So if you are interested in doing a safari to the far-flung Congo Basin rainforests, please just pop us an email on travel@painteddog.tv. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a technical issue here. Vim, can you hear me? Or can I hear you? More importantly, oh no, it sounds like you are swimming in a fish tank. I'm just going to restart comms. Vim sounded like he was a chipmunk speaking into a fan. Anyway. Okay, now I know for our pack members, this is the most exciting time. Unfortunately, we don't have Doc Rogers joining us now. So for the next few minutes, you can ask me anything. Obviously, please ask questions about the show, or if you've got any questions that you might have had for Pete, I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. I probably won't be able to answer too of more of the technical questions. But yes, so for our pack members, now is your time to send your questions through. I am waiting. I am ready here. Okay, well, we can say hello to our pack members while we wait for some of the questions to come through. Hello, Catherine. Welcome. Wendy, Becky, Mary, Liz, Barbara, Atropa, Trefoil, Liz already said hello. So great to have you guys here. And again, for those of you who haven't been able to ask questions, you need to become a pack member to ask questions during the Q&A and during the live drives. Liz says, doesn't get much better than that. And I know that you were referring to Cookie's wild dog video. Trefoil says, oh, wild dog puppies, the best. Michael had to leave. Sorry, Michael, that you had to leave. I know you've got work. Barbara says, I have to say, if you ever get a chance to be part of a relocation effort, take it. It will be an experience you will never forget. Indeed. Trefoil says, hi, Brent. Another great show. Liz says, Brent, what else can we see in Gabon? So much. So obviously the elephants on the beach are quite special, but at certain times of the year, you are able to see chimpanzees and gorillas on the beach. They come down to feed off a manakara tree, which is a type of milkberry. And it's amazing. These gorillas, these giant gorillas, are feeding off a seed, a little fruit that is about this big. And you watch them, they go. So dainty. So chimpanzees, gorillas, red river hogs, sitatunga, bushbuck, yellowback duiker, nigrophons, which is a blackback duiker. Sorry, I had to learn all the names in French while I was there. I'm trying to remember the English names. Adler's duiker, white flank duiker, which is not the right name, but that's the direct French translation. I'll remember in a second. Blue duikers, water chevrotain, the cross between a pig and a duiker that's got canines and has the same social structure as a leopard, but it's an omnivore. Bongo, giant forest hog, golden cat, leopard, if you're very lucky. But the main highlights for me in Gabon that we can comfortably say we're going to see on a safari there are the elephants, the forest buffaloes, chimps, gorillas, and the Red River hogs. Oh, West African manatee. There's always a chance you might see hippos surfing in the sea and crocodiles surfing in the sea. There's also incredible marine life at the right time of the year. You can go look at whales, killer whales, Atlantic humpback dolphin, one of the rarest mammals in the world with less than 4,500 in the world. We used to see them actually quite regularly in front of our camp. Oh, snakes. So many snakes at Tropa. The most beautiful snake in the world, which is a baby rhino viper, Gabon vipers, Jamison's mamba, forest cobra, Liechtenstein's adder, and they're beautiful, like gorgeous snakes. Barbara would like to know, what is our next relocation to this reserve and what? Nothing's ever set in stone, but I think the next one will probably be rhinos, black or white. We have space for more rhinos, and there's some areas that might not want their rhinos due to the cost of protecting them because of poaching. And we do at some point need to bring some more black rhinos in for the genetics. Becky says, enjoy, stay safe. My doggy has been waiting patiently for a walk. Well, my doggy is waiting patiently inside for me to come say hi, because she can hear me and I'm not there, which is probably her worst thing in the world. Trefoil says, oh good, now I have to add Gabon to my dream list. Cookie's asking what conservation programs are upcoming, like dehorning or relocation. We've got some stuff planned with Grant with wild dogs, and unfortunately that is snare removals, so a little bit sad, but there's possibly some rhino work coming up, and there's something very exciting that I can't talk about just yet. I'll just say it's going to blow your mind. And on that note, to keep you guessing, I'm going to love you and leave you. And before I do that, I just want to say a big thank you to Pete Rogers again. Very sad we couldn't get him to come chat live via Zoom today, but we will definitely have to have Pete back for another show, because I can't wait to sit around a fire with Pete and talk stories. So, I mean, Pete even phoned us to tell us that, oh no, I forgot one of the best stories. So we're going to have to bring him back for another episode. And of course, a very big thank you to Lead Lenser, to Rogue for my shoes, to Stanley, and to Dunlop for our tires. And remember, for those of you who didn't see earlier, if you want to help some elephants, since it was World Elephant Day yesterday, go get yourself a copy of Remembering Elephants by the Remembering Wildlife series. Of course, their new book, Remembering Leopards, is coming out at the end of the year, and that is incredibly exciting. And of course, we are always very privileged to be part of the Remembering family. And on that note, it's time to go get some dinner and go say hello to my dog. Mwah! Bye!
Is late for a lecture and we're stuck because the red car goes
Run out.
no